right, now that it's been a few months and probably no one's going to care until there's new footage or set photos from it, here is a video about Star Trek Picard. Specifically, what the title says. 3 things from DS9 I'd like to see in Star Trek Picard. Thus far, everything we've seen has been stuff that came from either TNG or Voyager, although there is some possible Section 31 stuff going on there, and that was a DS9 creation. But anyway, 3 things from DS9 I want to see in Star Trek Picard in no particular order. Number 1, Engineer Molly O'Brien. There's a moderately popular Star Trek blog on Tumblr that's actually called Molly Became an Engineer, but that's not the only place where you can find the idea of Molly O'Brien following in her father's footsteps. I refer specifically to Star Trek Online at the end of a particular mission where Worf says to Captain Sean, the Andorian who's the captain of the Enterprise F, give my regards to you, Chief Engineer, and Sean says, I'll let Chief O'Brien know. But no first name and no pronouns are used here. So, unless it was made explicit and something that got cut from the game before I started playing it, I like the idea that the Chief Engineer of the Enterprise F is Molly. And seeing her turn up in Picard as an engineer would be cool. Number two, Captain Nog. This is also a thing we have in Star Trek Online. He's captain of the Chimera. I'm sure there are all sorts of legal reasons they can't use the Chimera in Picard, but they could still have Nog be a captain, just give him a different ship. That one's pretty short and sweet. Which brings us to number 3, speaking of captains and speaking of ships. This one is actually pretty specific. A big damn hero moment for the Defiant, captained by Kira Nerys. Now, just so you all understand, the reason I am excluding Sisko from this is, unfortunately, Avery Brooks has just not been in the best of health the past few years. So even if he wants to, which is debatable because they couldn't even get new interview footage for him for the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, he might not be physically well enough to actually do it, which really sucks. Sisko is my favorite on-screen captain. I'd love to see him again. But we could still see his Starfleet legacy, the Defiant. And I know just exactly how they could do it, too. There could be just this real moment where it looks like, the ship that Picard is on, with Picard and 7 of 9 and Hugh, and, they're getting swarmed by, Tal Shiar or Section 31 or both. And it's starting to look really, really bad. And then off-screen, during the battle, you hear, that familiar decloaking noise. And from off-screen, you get those pulse phasers coming in and just blasting one of the enemy ships. And then the Defiant swoops in. And then we cut back to the ship. And the Defiant hails them. And it's Kira Nerys in a captain's uniform on screen. That would just be so cool. So yeah, quick recap. The 3 things from Deep Space Nine I most want to see on Star Trek Picard. Engineer Molly O'Brien, Captain Nog, Kira and the Defiant in a big damn heroes moment.